Hey, welcome back to the Snyder Family Homestead. And we are in Michigan, and I'm going to show you around. Like many other homesteads, I'm sure you've been dealing with this. Lots of cold, bitter snow. And it's been cold. And I've been having cracked eggs. And I'm going to show you a picture right here. Now, I've had to come out to my coop multiple times a day. Luckily, on some of the days that I've had off, it's just been bad. The eggs have been freezing faster than I can find them, and I just haven't been able to keep up with them. But luckily, that cold spell has now passed. It's still getting cold at nighttime. Oh, look at that balancing act. That's quite the balancing act right there. I'm gonna grab that one. So I covered the bottom of my chicken coop in this straw. I put it down. I just covered it to keep a separation from the ground to the hens, so they wouldn't have to deal with the cold weather, because that cold weather was really bad, and a lot of people I saw on YouTube were trying to deal, how do I deal with chickens in the cold weather? Well, they're birds. Wild birds deal with cold weather all the time. So, but they're able to get into the woods, get into the shelter. Like turkeys will get into the woods, and they'll find pine trees and bury themselves into it. Tall grasses, they'll bury themselves into it. Same thing with pheasants. They'll bury right down inside of that, and they'll burrow right down into the deep grass, and they'll sit there. Same thing in the marshlands where pheasants like to live too. Also, they'll burrow right down there, right down into where the cattails fold over. I'll show you a picture. Right here. And when the cattails fold over like that, it creates a nice little hollow spot for like all wild animals. I mean, the deer will get down there and crawl into it. The pheasants, rabbits, other birds, it just doesn't matter. Nature finds a way. Same thing with the chickens. But for me, I wanted to also make it available or easy for the chickens to lay eggs without them freezing all the time. They're using the nest boxes, but there's no insulation, and I wanted to encourage the chickens to actually lay the eggs on the ground, so they'll all huddle together on the straw, like I showed you here, like right here in this corner, right here by the feeder. They love this corner. This like their most favorite corner. And what I did is I scattered all the straw right there at first, right here by their feeder. And then they spread this all out, all 8 feet across this area, all on their own. They did that. So they put the straw where they wanted it, and they kind of made their nests where they wanted to lay their eggs. And so with doing that, it increased my odds of the eggs not freezing. When they laid the eggs in the nesting boxes, they would always freeze, but when they were laying them on the straw, they wouldn't freeze as much, and I was having a higher success rate. But I would have to check them twice a day, because I'm making some baby chicks, hopefully. But so like I was saying before I was interrupted by my rooster, the straw creates the insulation, creates the area where the hens want to be, so the hens were actually keeping the eggs warm while I could come out here and collect them. I collected 2 eggs now. My daughter collected two eggs this morning, so that's what we have. The watering, what I did for the watering is I just have this water sit right out here on the ground. I just brought this out a couple hours ago. It's already starting to freeze up a little bit. Still frozen, but chickens in the first couple hours of the day aren't really active until the sun gets out, and then the same thing at nighttime. When the sun goes down, chickens aren't active. So I'm just coming out during the day when I have time, or when I'm here, I'll change the water out. But typically they're real active. They'll get water in the morning, and then they'll get water at night before they roost. So, but at nighttime, when they go into roost, chickens typically won't eat or drink until the sun comes back out. And to go back to nature, so wild animals don't necessarily drink water. Have access. They have access to water all day, but they don't sit there and drink themselves full all the time. They'll go to water, they'll drink themselves full, they'll have all they want, and then they'll go back to whatever they're doing, go back searching for food or doing whatever, and then later on they'll go back to water. And that's what nature does. So you just kind of work with nature in this setting, and you won't have any issues. I mean, some people get really bent out of shape about the cold and the farm animals and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, it all depends how you treat your animals. If you get a very expensive breed chicken that's not used to cold weather like this, and then you bring it like California, or a breed of chicken that was made some place in a foreign country, and bring it here as an exotic, and you're gonna have issues. So I mean, that's more of a pet than it is livestock. These are heritage breed chickens. They're used to this, they're bred for this, so there's no reason to get a bit bent out of shape. I mean, if you're the type of individual that likes to build really extravagant chicken coops, go ahead, by all means, go ahead and do so. But chickens are doing just fine. They'll mob together, they'll keep warm, they don't spend a lot of time outside. Like this one here's got his rear end showing a little bit from the rooster and molting. This one's got some rear end showing, but they're fine. I haven't had any die, and they're doing just fine. This is what they do. They do this. They mob together like that. See this? This is what chickens do. So anyway, keeping chickens cheap, you can go and it all depends about what your lifestyle is too. Sometimes you don't have the ability to just go out to your chicken coop and change the water willy-nilly. So some people really prefer to have a tank heater or some type of water heater and so on and so forth. But like I said, if you're just trying to keep your chickens cheap, just bring the water out in the morning before you go to work. When you get home from work, take it in, or when the chickens go into roost, just grab the water, bring it in, and then feed them and do your chores, collect your eggs. Have a good evening and stay warm.